So this is the exact video on how you can scale your store from 6 to 7 figures and from 7 figures to all the way up to 8 figures plus. And we are going to be talking specifically about creative strategy, how your creative strategy needs to evolve as you start scaling, where I see most e-commerce businesses plateau after a point because they're basically using the same kind of creative strategy. We're going to go very in depth and make sure to use to kind of um, we are gonna go very in depth. I'm gonna show you specific examples. I'm also gonna be linking specific examples in the description for free. This is exactly what I've done from a creative strategy perspective to scale this meta account to 800K per month, and for example, this store here to 1.2 million per month here using those exact strategies. Now let's actually dive into it. So the most important concept here initially to kind of showcase is going to be the 5 stages of customer awareness. This is a concept that Eugene Schwartz initially brought into the marketing kind of landscape. It's one of the most important fundamental things to understand to really scale your kind of creative strategy and really scale your business. And this is really the fundamentals on how we can speak to our customers. And basically, the theory behind these 5 stages of customer awareness, in a nutshell, is each stage that we go into is more indirect or more direct, basically. So as you can see, stage one is very indirect, so it's very top of funnel. It's people who don't even know they have a problem, so we need to mainly address them through stories, secrets, a lot of storytelling, a lot of hard copywriting goes into it, basically. And that's why it's a lot more hard to actually create those kind of creatives, and obviously it'd be more expensive to get those people. But if you get this right, obviously the scalability is really beyond any kind of limits, because then we can get basically any cold traffic, and if we appeal them in a kind of great way, we're gonna get them into to buy, basically. Obviously here we're talking about spends above 30K, 20K a day. Obviously it depends on the market size as well, but typically this is what we see. Now stage two is going to be problem aware, and really problem solution aware are where most businesses are. So problem aware are really focused on benefits and kind of and we directly calling out the pain and the solution. There's really the problem solution kind of framework that goes into it, and really people who understand the problem but don't really have a solution. And they also, again, that goes hand in hand, is solution aware, that basically know they have a problem, they know they have a solution or what the solution is, but they don't know exactly the best solution. So that's why we come here with claims, proofs to showcase that, basically. And now stage 4 and 5 also go a bit together. This is more bottom of funnel, people who already interacted or went through the previous stages, and they basically want to see the guarantees, the social proof, the objection handling. So we frame them and we address them through deals, discounts, product, and price. Now, this is again the kind of fundamentals. We're gonna see exact creative styles for each one of those stages. So depending on where you are on your journey, this will all apply to you. First thing here is to show you a bit of a visual in terms of like how specific styles of creatives appeal to different kind of stages. So for example, as you can see here, you have some of the most common, basically I put here, styles of creative. So that would be reviews, unboxing videos, founder story, the problem solution framework that we discussed, tips and hacks, listicles, and how that is being illustrated in those two axes. The one we have, like discovery, is more top of funnel, more cold people, and on the bottom axis we have emotion, a kind of function. So again, as you can see, the further we get away from this point here, the more we are basically communicating and appealing to call the audiences. So that we need a founder story, for example, is a very top of funnel kind of concept, kind of builds emotional connection, brand trust, whereas kind of offer-led static is very bottom of funnel. We saw tangible outcomes, reinforcing both with logic and emotion, but again, it's mostly around the kind of functional piece, not the emotion. And as you can see, as we try to get more people who are not in the market looking for our solution or our product, is super important that we actually do that. So the first thing that we're gonna touch on is gonna be the unaware um, stage of awareness. Again, this is one of the hardest one to actually get it right, but if you get it right, you can really scale very, very hard. And some of those concepts that we're gonna be introducing here, basically like the founder story ad, like even if you're just starting out, obviously there's not, you're probably not going to be in the level of like scaling very hard, or you need to really go very, very top of funnel. But a founder story is one of those unique concepts. I put it here because I think it kind of belongs here into the unaware stage. But it's one of the is a bit of a mixed one, because obviously you can build a very, very strong connection with the audience through a founder story and communicating why you create a brand here. So I highly recommend it for those early stages. If you're just starting out, I think it's also going to be key, especially because people are also more, people can actually relate a lot more to you as well. Because obviously just starting out, you most people want to help a small business. So also that could be great. Let me see actually a few examples here. But the main thing to kind of see, we need to um, really focus on make it as authentic as possible. And key here is really setting the brand's mission and journey to spark curiosity to for people to actually check out and build that emotional connection. Same here. As you can see, both start with a very very strong hook, a very attention grabbing hook. And the key thing here is also to illustrate like a bit of the struggle, the pain, maybe the unique experiences that can make people to relate to your story. As you can see, yeah, those are also elements of like credibility. Again, some of the things obviously apart from the actual story can actually help people push people over the line. So that was the kind of founder story ad. Super good concept. Highly recommend testing this out. Now the other kind of top of funnel VSL kind of style of concept. This is primarily focused on like again, really that unaware segment. I would recommend for those early stages. Is very similar to one to the other one. And just before actually, just one thing that I forgot on the founder story. As you can see here, those are like mostly more high production videos. You can easily make one like a selfie style. You can also, and we are going to talk about this in a bit, but you can basically take this concept and reworked and rework it if it actually works into different kind of styles. So more high production, more UGC style, more like even a static can actually work. So don't think that you need to do, you need to have like studio quality to shoot this. It can be just a very realizable UGC as well. Now VSL is mostly more polished, and again it goes into mostly some authentic customer stories that walk through the views from transformation to challenges and the post results achieved after using the product. Again, it is more it is more high production focused, and it really opens with a hook that really focus on the pain, the audience speaker struggles, and then we have a very clear structured way on getting those credibility elements or scientific insights to reinforce trust and showcase the kind of transformation is a bit more staged, quote unquote. And as you scale, obviously those will appeal to even those a bit higher older a bit older demographics, just given the kind of quality it makes people to trust a bit more the brand. You can see very direct, very salesy, quote unquote. And also you can see here. This is a bit like it is on a kind of podcast setup. It is a bit more high prod here. Obviously, those may not be the best examples as well. but that's the idea behind the VSL. Great concept at scale. Now, myth busting is a great one because you can tackle myths and kind of objections to show like why this product actually outperforms competition, why maybe most of the kind of solutions out there um don't have this right basically. So you can either share a kind of personal story, you can challenge some industry belief. Like there's a great static. There's actually a carousel, but I couldn't pull it here. If I have ED means everyone has her number one before. So it really builds in intrigue. It positions the product as a number one solution because it kind of again positions you as the most sophisticated solution and the kind of solution that basically has everything covered, especially when we're addressing those other solutions that don't work. Again, it's a great way to kind of tackle many objections and maybe educate a bit the customer a bit before buying the product. So as you can see, someone who's going to be like appealing to this kind of static is probably somewhat. I mean, he even doesn't even know he has a problem probably, but he can get into the notion about okay, what actually are those myths around the kind of topic. So you can see very cold. Myth. Insurance is the best way to access weight loss meds. Truth, you don't need it. It's already hard enough losing weight as it is, and it only takes one. You see, myth, very strong kind of hook here as well. Now, whitelisting slash experts. This is one of my favorites. This also works very well for those again lower. As you can see here, I have awareness stage, problem, unaware, because they can actually work very well on those again lower kind of stages of awareness as well. And whitelisting is one of the best things that you can do if you're struggling, especially with performance right now on like any page or platform. Basically, get your top performing ads, run them through your maybe top creators, maybe through the kind of profile. It comes out a lot more authentic. It comes up a lot more native as well, and that's why we've seen like very strong CAC CPAs from this kind of format. And again, the great focus here will be around focus at the kind of focus on the problem on the hook. And this can be done also with like experts. If, for example, you are a supplement business or a business that maybe is around like health issues, or you can position, or you can basically get someone trusted, like a doctor, like a pharmacist, on the creative itself. Obviously, that builds a lot of trust. You can also have them basically basically do the whole concept, and you can handle core objections and really um, position your product from an authority-based figure, and that works like charm. I haven't put here a link, but I can actually I'll pull some of those stuff for you. Again, by the way, if you see the link below in the description, I'm gonna have the deck as well as a few other creative resources that you can take for absolutely free. Now, that's exactly what I was saying. Expert interviews. Obviously, we went through that.
So in the afternoons, I'm exhausted. I don't want to grab a cup of coffee at 4 o'clock because I know that caffeine spike's gonna happen and I'm gonna crash and slump. Whereas with motion, we use natural, derived, sustainable.
As you can see, this is more so. It looks to be like the founder, but it's also like basically anyone with a kind of podcast seems to be a bit more authoritative. But in ideas now, you have someone like this is a great example because this basically has a podcast style clip, which most businesses actually now just do it very fake. This is great because it seems to be an actual kind of video you will see on your feed. Choose progressed. I'm sick. I need to try it. I wouldn't be here without colostrum. A true superfood that can't be found in any other natural source. That's incredible. And help me understand this a little bit more. This colostrum is the first line of defense from. It also educates a bit the customer here with how it works. Again, great thing to test. Even in those early stages, like I said, it actually worked quite well because it is a great ad, a very problem solution kind of oriented. But as you can see, you can get this with right kind of frame. You can be also very top of funnel, especially if you have quite kind of a more top of funnel hooks as well, and more like a podcast clip. It can be a lot more top of funnel. Okay, into the next time, we're gonna talk about the problem aware segment, which is gonna be very important. Like you're gonna use this for sure. The main thing for this segment or this stage rather of the audience is that we need to really showcase the benefits and anxieties. of our customers. Basically, we need to think and theory think how we can actually do this. And I'm gonna do a very separate video because it just needs a whole video for that. You need to go very deep on research for this. Use Reddit, use TikTok, use whatever you need, Google. But we need to speak to our customers' language as well. So some of the examples here, one of the most common concepts is also one of the most high performing ones, and that's why it is a problem solution kind of format. So we basically deal with the pain or the problem, and then we introduce the solution there. So the key thing here is call out the persona specific pain points in their own language, like I said, and smoothly transition into the product, the ingredients, and benefits, but make it very relevant. So how to open very boldly with a very strong visual, auditory, um, or like whatever hook, and that really solves the problem. It solves really also the timeline, the struggle, then address objections, highlight the value, influence reviews. Here it is on a static, as you can see, struggling with mood swings. I'm sorry. Again, very specific headline. Yeah, probably mood swings maybe has been described by a spouse or whatever that is. It shows, for example, some of the social proof here, some of the key benefits, key USPs. Also very strong headline here. But let me see also this video. Very problem oriented hook. Introducing the solution, backed by scientific, and goes into what's different, and so it's like different dogs as well, which is very key here, that are going to be also applicable for different dogs. And that's the problem solution. Again, I have more examples in the folder, but this is very key. Testimonials, again, one of another key concepts here, which a lot of people actually do wrong, and is really nowadays a bit lazy on how they actually position it. This can be a very strong concept if you position it correctly. So this helps us reach new audiences with problem focused messaging again. That also feels very authentic and tailored to each persona. Like that's where we need to really think. We need to have the right kind of persona, how our customer looks like, or if we do have a specific persona in mind that we already nailed down in us, how we can tap into another persona, maybe a different avatar. Maybe it is like, for example, just to speak more specifically, one persona can be a mom over 40 that I don't know has digestive issues, and then you can have another persona, maybe a man at like low mid 20s that also has digestive issues. There's going to be completely different messaging of those two different demographics here. And same with the testimonial and the person that you're going to use from a creator perspective, it needs to match that. So also need to be as authentic as possible. That's why some of the best content here is going to be either from customer reviews or customer generated content, or affiliates from TikTok shop, actually, which we've seen working very well. Now, key things here, use bold problem first hooks. Again, speak directly to the persona specific issues with a natural and relatable way. And that's why it's super important that we have someone that is relatable. And weave in objection handling, again, build trust. And I have here one starting from loop, again, great brand to spy on. Because everyone should have a pair. Again, this makes my life easier in every way to hear, to focus, and make things happen. Again, this is most around productivity and focus. Danielle, as you can see, loop e-plugs. They have e-plugs for sleep as well. So you might find, for example, to speak specifically about that kind of audience with their own kind of messaging. Let's actually watch the video here so we can see how that looks.
20 grams of protein changed my life. I have been eating holos every morning for the past 6 months, and my energy levels feel
very bold first hook. It's not a problem first hook, but it is a transformation. How 20 grams of protein changed my life. Showing the product again, and it's
20 grams of protein.
very testimonial, very personal.
I've been eating holos every morning. Listen, I do not have a bar vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, all for less than $5.
Okay, very simple. I probably have found a better kind of example that actually has everything, but it's also a very simple way to kind of showcase it again. Now, organic UGC formats. This is one of the most mistakenly put format out there, because obviously UGC was a very easy thing to kind of nail initially because nobody was doing it, but now everyone's doing UGC. So we need to do it very authentic. We need to have a very specific structure to it, and key, use real life scenarios to grab attention, tell a story, show problem solution, tackle objection. Some of the strongest UGC I've seen in accounts that take most of the spend are very native. So I'm gonna show you here examples. People like you could be very native to actually go through that. Just speaking as they go into the day, like some of the organic videos actually do. Again, probably this video, what we'll do better is just have a few different scenes, maybe like going showing some clips from the gym or something like that. But even that, as you can see, something that again people really, especially for like walking videos, like it's something that I've seen, hold rates are just through the roof. People just want to go through the whole video, see where the creator actually goes, see where like what exactly he's talking about. But again, let me see actually another example here. As you can see, it doesn't have even like speaking in the next in the first couple of seconds. Very organic, as you can see. Also, something has to do with the cars. Those content actually does very well. Next, upper funnel statics. Again, we're also using problem aware. We're still in problem aware stage, but using a bit more upper funnel statics. So statics are going to be specifically talking about pain points and immediately position on product as a solution. So the product is a focal point, as you can see on both statics. Again, the key thing here is have a very strong headline that speaks to a customer in their own language. So again, we need to do our research. Again, use bold problems, let hooks, tell the messaging to specific personas again. Very easy way to test also to then turn into like a video. As you can see, is menopause kicking your butt? You know, being there again, it shows exactly the products. This menopause support bundle is made for women's health. And then key thing here, the landing page then it does a lot of selling as well. It's really simple concept, but very hard to actually nail because we need to do that research. And the whole purpose of that is to really grab attention and go into the next step. So scrolling because you can't focus. Okay, try loop choir in blacks. Again, has some value background in T. You can pepper in some scientific backing relevant. And then it's very like intriguing to me. I'll just go into the website and see what's about with those e-plugs, how they're different. Now, something that's actually working right now is native statics, super key as well. Is really again that's why it's super important to do your actual research. Is gonna be again the same kind of messaging, but in a slightly different way that we're gonna deliver it. With styles that people actually are very accustomed to, like a story, for example, or like a post or something like that. As you can see, those are like they just seems very like organic. So again, make sure to have everything down. Still, we're gonna use very bold problem first hooks, person specific messaging, objection handling, but the key thing here is that it kind of blends with the feed. And as you can see, we're also going to use maybe some fake profiles to, again, really make sure it showcases and its own ad as actually a native format. Now, solution aware. Now we're going to be more upper funnel. Again, if you're around seven figures, this is a concept or not a concept, but a stage of awareness that you really need to nail down with claims and proofs mainly, but also again, the key thing here is that we are somewhere in the middle. People is not like very top of funnel, is not that very bottom funnel. Again, people really know they have a problem. They're just looking for the best solution. That's why we need to position our product as the main way to get those claims and proofs out to really showcase our product as just that. Now, solution away, USB call out, one of my favorite statics and formats and concepts because again, it's very simple, it's very easy to actually test. Again, emphasize on claims, benefits, trust signals. People already know they have the problem. They know they have there are solutions. We need to just position ours in a kind of different way. That's why we need to really lead with like testimonials or like some bold headlines that sounds a bit counterintuitive of like every other ad that I've seen. Example here, don't buy this collagen unless you want to look kind of younger. Every startup out there just, just is really leading with a claim, and then we just go into don't buy this collagen. Here's why, because it's just actually different, and it has more than a million customers, more than just sales. What we're selling here, electrolytes. Again, electrolytes is a very saturated market. So again, it shows as much potassium as half a banana, 1 cup of spinach, medium orange. It's just completely different here. Now, going to the next one, us versus them, comparison. Again, very strong creative style to really make some money with. Now, we again, it's very solution oriented because we directly compare it to other common solutions, especially if you have some very big competitor. We need to like compare. Again, key thing here, don't mention any brands because you're gonna get into trouble. Like for example here, Fussy and I would say a natural deodorant brand. They mentioned Mitchum, which is also like another just random brand there, but it's actually showcasing the brand. Again, this is like I think like a very huge brand, so probably they gonna get away with it. But if someone actually sees that, like they can be in big trouble. So again, very simple format as you can see here. Extra smart wallets. How's it different than actual or ordinary wallets? Clearly showcasing the USPs. Same with here. Time to make the switch. Again, how is it different? Okay, we also peppering some social proof. So again, very easy. You can also do this with the video very well using a maybe split screen faction and go through all these key points into the storyline format. Again, product and most aware, I just put those together because they're very similar. We need to really focus on one key thing here: objection handling and pushing for that conversion through deals and discounts. Now, feature call out again, very simple tactics that we can use. I love this one from John's Road. One jar sold every 30 seconds. Miracle Bomb is now shipping to Europe. Very strong creative to jump into another market. And again, it just leads without social proof. And the same here, relieve menopause symptoms 6 days on your money back. Very bold claim. We also need to showcase very strong product claims. Again, people already know our product, they know the solution. They just seen our product, they maybe have seen 20 other products. How we can make it to make them to actually take the actual extra step, boost confidence through a money guarantee, through more reviews, through maybe more expert reviews, something like that. Again, objection handling. Again, we want to apologize for the price. We'd rather explain the quality. Great ad from Hugh Sports. Again, it just directly goes into the price, which is going to be the most objections, and the most common objection roughly. Again, key thing here, we've done our research again, and probably for this brand, price one that comes out a lot. Probably there are cheaper alternatives. Again, and it's just positioned now as the more quality version of any other alternative there. A grade also started from Fussy, which they're actually doing quite great work on the paid. So have a look at the ad library as well. And like a very native format again is it looks like those like polls or like questions that they have on the Instagram stories. And again, it goes into again how long does fast actually last. One of the most common objections for a natural deodorant brand, because I've worked with quite a bit of few, is like if it actually lasts all day long compared to like a very mainstream product or mainstream deodorant there. And just go through the objection handling. Again, key thing here is we lead with a bold headline, a sub headline, and just tackle objection and show proof where possible. Now, that was it from a state of awareness perspective. We saw some examples. Again, make sure to click the link below. I have a lot more examples. I'm going to be adding a lot more there, completely free. So you can take inspiration. And another video, probably going to go into specific like writing and briefing. But I want to mention something here, which is going to be very key here for the whole creative process. So you got the sense of awareness. Okay, you know what exactly you are looking to create. You're probably going to start creating, but you need to just put this into structure to see, okay, after we test it, how we can iterate, how we can go further here. Because one of the key things here I see on every account that I audit, because I audit accounts every single week, they don't iterate on the winning ads. So we need to use the following metrics to spot when an ad is losing effectiveness, where we start showing that fatigue, and where we can solve those opportunities to actually scale. So I appreciate this is a very ugly chart, but again, this is what we have now here. So I like to think about my creative and the performance. Obviously, first of all, if it actually meets our KPIs, if it actually produces um, purchases, reduces purchase in an efficient rate, and is a winner. So that will be two things: taking spent in the account, meeting my KPIs. Now afterwards, we need to think how we can basically, if we have a winning ad, how we can unlock more winning ads out of it. Because obviously it is a very expensive, a very hard thing, even with those all those AI tools, still to create fast, a very good creative. Now, so we need to do a bit of a thought here. First of all, what we need to take a look is take a look the creative in four parts here. Now, the first part is going to be the opening, which is going to be measuring through thumbs up ratio, which basically responds to our question, how engaging and how attention grabbing is the first 2 or 3 seconds. If the thumbs up ratio is below roughly 30%, again, this is rough benchmarks, it will depend on your account and your industry and your messaging. So you can imagine going back a bit, the more top of funnel, the more we want, the more like high the thumbs up, because we're gonna attract a lot more people, but it's gonna be a lot more broad as well. Where we go low in the funnel in those problem solution aware, we are directly calling out a problem in the hook, very specific segment of the whole pie is gonna have that problem. So as you're gonna see, a lot less people are gonna be uh, responding to that created, and it's fine because this is what we need. Again, hold rate. How engaging is that post 3 seconds? Again, it's super key here. I see so many brands that okay, try to focus on the hook, but after 3 or 4 seconds, they just drop the ball and they have some random sequence. Make sure to agitate a bit the pain point, maybe showcase a bit more about the story, and then introduce the solution so we can again bring that hold rate. Make sure you build curiosity. Click through rate. Is the messaging engaging enough to drive viewers to actually click? Is the ad that is showing a solution to a problem that is driving viewers to click? Is that very engaging? Because we want to obviously drive, people to the website and everything. We need to have a very congruent storyline that positions our products as a solution to a very painful thing that they want to click and see and act on it and basically solve it. And last is conversion rate. Again, how does the messaging ad align with the post-click journey? Something that a lot of people just miss. They just focus on those like three parts, which are all pre-click, maybe like click actually, up until the click really. But then they just throw whatever random product page they have, and the message that doesn't align. Again, as we go high with the funnel, we need to have specific landing pages. We go very specific with one persona. We may need to align that funnel as well, speaking to a specific persona. Super key here. Focus on those four metrics to optimize the journey. And the next natural question is, how exactly we're going to do this? And actually, before I dive into that, I have here what I've just mentioned before. From one concept, you can have hundreds of creatives and actually winning creatives. And I have a brand here, Fussy again, because they've done this great with basically Dragon's Den. So Fussy, they went on Dragon's Den and go funding from this dragon here, and they basically put so many different styles of that concept into fruition, which is a great example here. There's another example which I'll try to link from another brand that does very well, but basically have the original version, which wasn't this one. The actual original ad was not this one with the creator and the green screen, was actually just a clip from Dragon's Den, and then they took it. They went into go to UGC creators, reviewing, reacting to that, and again going through again what we just went before, which all the USPs. We also did more high production videos, podcast styles. As you can see, this is the dragon. Again, great, because obviously some of the stuff here, these are like people who are also quite known, because obviously it is a TV show. But you can see here, this is actually not that it's just a simple selfie style, but again, it's also that native style that we mentioned. just did a be different style of static, showcasing a bit more social proof on like specific publications like the Sun, or again the kind of physical thing here, which seems like an article, or like just a simple static from a testimonial. Again, this is hundreds of creatives from one concept, and you can really try to dive into this, and then start testing on different concepts, and you can unlock a lot more volume, as to which only more important, and it's going to be more important in the future, but also it's going to be opportunity scale spent and iterate on that winning concept without having every week to go back into the drawing board, because you have the messaging, this is clearly working. How we can repackage it, how we can attract different people that are going to be most often than not just stopping the scroll on a static rather than a video, and vice versa. And last but not least, how are we going to tie all this together? So again, I appreciate this is a very thorough decking video, but this is only scratching the surface, to be honest. We haven't really touched on like specifically research, specific briefing, and obviously that multiple teams are involved. But again, this is the whole grail of how you can scale. This is a process on creative that I've seen working very well. Now we are gonna start with testing your creative or concept. For example, after this video, go into look at your ad account, look at some of your top performing content, and see how you can iterate and see how you can speak to the correct kind of stages of awareness, whether you are in very early on your journey and just spending a lot, or whether you start spending multiple six figures and you want to go a bit more top of funnel. So you're also gonna have some ideas. You're gonna start getting some briefs together, some research together, and you're gonna test those new concepts. Then you're gonna review performance. You're gonna iterate again. And you're just gonna scale as well. Then you're gonna build further iterations. So I'm gonna go into like specifically around iterations, but maybe you can show that this has a very poor click-through rate. We can maybe try to move the call to action a bit earlier. Maybe we can edit some of the boring stuff to again increase the click-through rate. Then we're gonna test new concepts. Again, we're gonna review performance again, and we're gonna build new hypotheses based on the new concepts, and we can do a more strategic planning around. Let's say I usually do this every month on like top level. Okay, which concepts and creatives are really driving the account forward, and this is when we're gonna be again testing new concepts based on that, and this never ends. This is maybe not a great visual. I need you to make this that is like interchangeable, and it's just a loop. This never ends. You're gonna test new concepts, you're gonna review, iterate, back in the drawing board. And there you have it. This is the whole creative workflow. This is the masterclass. How you can scale your brand from 6 to 7 to 8 figures. Exact creative systems that I use, and it's some of the best brands use. And some action steps. Go into again your account. See some iterations that you can do. Start getting those stages of awareness down. See where your spend does, and go and research. And again, click the link below. I'm gonna have the link to the deck, to the examples, and even more examples as well on a Google Drive that I have here. I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope you found some value out of it. And as always, see you on the next one.